nothing directly related to weapons, but some interesting info.
Yeah, weapons caches are weird though, right? Because like if they've been found, they probably have been cleaned out. But
yeah,
any planet where there is like existing
TL5
technology,
there may be a weapon cache.
Right, that has the potential you could find a mandate weapon cache somewhere on that planet. So, does anybody have anything else they're gonna do while they're still on planet?
I mean, Oscar probably almost knocks himself out once or twice playing with his new toy, but
yeah, no, I think that's a definite.
Beyond that, he's he sent the messages he needed to, and
yeah, and there's probably wherever you're training with the giant Psy Mace thing, probably
not on the ship.
Yeah.
He's out like in a field somewhere.
Yeah, but there's probably like a couple people who have noticed you like leave with it and then come back with it like all sweaty and maybe like maybe you're like limping a little bit because you rammed yourself in the knee or something. And I think that probably over the course of the 2 days, like as many times as you do this, there's probably like a few people like onlookers maybe that are like watching you because you don't want to get too far away from the base, right? Because then you're in danger of getting attacked.
I mean, he's secretly hoping that something pops its head up from around a rock, but being realistic, he's not going to go wander off and get lost somewhere.
Right. And so I think that for the rest of you, and maybe not Oscar, maybe, I don't know how concentrated you are, but there's clearly like a betting pool going around as to whether or not he's actually going to knock himself unconscious with this thing.
It's probably been paid out at least once.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Definitely a good money-making scam for some people, for sure.
Oh, yeah, I mean, at some point, probably one of the first things that he would have done when he got, they all got back to the ship and got to decompress is dig out a new mask from his quarters.
Yep, absolutely.
He got the last one wrecked along with some of his face. So
yeah, from a backhand too.
Yeah.
That thing
just got bitch slapped into a wall.
Yeah.
Sometimes it happens.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. So fast forward, then I know the fast forward took 30 minutes, but fast forward then to Go. The thing is positioned and tied down exactly where you want it to be, so as not to unbalance the ship when in flight. Boomer has set to making sure like the ship is protected from like the possible nanite exposure that may happen. He's probably set up like some containment field or like some type of device that will detect nanites at the very least, so you can like quickly shut down critical systems so they can't get in there. Because that's like a big concern with transporting this thing. And Boomer has been hard at work at nanite proofing the ship. But we also know that this particular
even
one
though
is
it would do no good, Oscar would have showered for at least an hour when he got back just to scrub the nanite feel off himself.
Sure, yeah. More than once, I think everybody got hit in the face with a cloud of nanites during their journey.
Yep, just wallowing in it.
Yep. And so the moment is finally come, and you guys are kind of sitting on the docks and like double checking supplies and double checking like your air supplies and stuff like that, which you've all have acquired again, obviously. And there's a bit of a crowd like to send you guys off. And at the front of this crowd obviously is Hiapo. And he's carrying like with him in his like over his arm what we know as like Hawaiian leis. And he walks up to you and he says, "Brothers and sister, it is no surprise that the only reason I'm here right now is due to your bravery. It is customary that we send people off in my culture with a token of our gratitude." And he like takes the leis off and like gives you each one in turn, including Boomer and including Chan even receives the gift. And he kind of like looks up and you can see like he looks at the ship and he's like, I will be staying here for some time, but then I think I follow your path. I go probably move on from this place. And he kind of like looks back over his shoulder at the facility. Does anyone say anything to him, like, as he's giving you goodbyes?
Yeah, I'd probably tell him that without him, we probably wouldn't have made it out either.
Sure, yeah.
So whatever we did, you did just as much.
Yeah, and he's definitely bolstered by that vote of confidence.
Gogo would definitely obviously tell him to take care of himself, but also to say hi to his daughter for her.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. And I think he gives you like a big beaming smile, and he probably says to you, he's like, hey, I already told her about you. She said that if you ever in system, she'd like to meet you.
Likewise, I'll remember that.
Yeah, he smiles again, and, kind of, he embraces you in a big old bear hug, which basically envelops Gogo entirely.
Crushes ribs and...
Yeah, he's a massive dude. He's also super strong. So, that's his one good feature.
Oscar goes over and does the same. As they were greeted, he goes back, and he doesn't say anything. He just goes, like, lifts him a half inch off the ground and puts him back down.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, big old bear hugs for everybody, because that's how he says hello and goodbye. And then, like, as you guys are, like, ascending the boarding ramp, we see he's like, peace be with you, brothers and sister, and he, like, holds up his hands and is waving, and the group is, like, waving, all the people that are standing by that have gotten to know you over the past couple of days. And when they all start to wave and send you off, distinctly we see, standing pointedly not waving, but with her arms crossed, we see Butcher just, like, kind of, like, semi-glaring up at the ship with her arms crossed as you guys ascend. And then once the loading dock, like, seals up, you see her, like, look over her shoulder at her men and, like, head nod, and they all begin to head off towards their little troop transport. As you guys ascend the dock and fly into orbit, and you are now officially off the planet. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Hooray, we did it!
Thank God.
We did it, Reddit!
So are you ready, guys?
Jesus Christ.
You ready for this?
I don't know.
We're going to need to come back to this system.
We're going to be what?
We're going to need to come back to this system. Maybe not that planet, but this system.
Yeah, so, like, now that you guys are officially, like, all alone, right? Is there anything, like... Is there a team meeting prior to making the, the 6-hour journey to the edge of the system in order to... Or 48-hour, or however long it takes to get to the edge of the system to drill out? Or is it kind of, like, just happy to be back in space? And
where are we headed? We're going to go deliver this thing, right? So
right, yeah, that's priority, obviously.
I think that's.
But is the conversation like, hey, I know we've spent a lot of time on this, but it's pretty certain we're going to make some extra money in addition to this, and the money we're going to make is going to pay for, our ship pretty easily, and also any maintenance we need to do, and still leave plenty left over for our profit, like. The argument, and Boomer would probably say is too, like, there's places in this trip, like this path that we're going to take, that we haven't seen that might be worth spending a day or two on along our journey.
Yeah.
My thought process here is that if we just make it straight back to Westwind, give them the stuff, and then get our money, we'll have more money to come back through these places we want to stop and see. Which may or may not be good because it's going to delay us getting back by, like, probably 3 weeks before we can make it back to 0100, like a full trip there and a full trip back. It would be almost a full month.
Odds are, I'm kind of... So, we don't know where our next mission bring us.
Yep. Because you guys, because remember, the way you guys work now, and just as a reminder to everybody, the way you guys work now, you're not directly employed by Westwind any longer. You're kind of like contractors. So you actually have to, like, headhunt the job that you want. You could find a job up here. It may not be the most lucrative, and and it may not be like, you know, the easiest, or in fact there may not be anyone available. You may have to wait a few weeks in port for a mission to become available. But that's kind of like the deal is you can make more money doing this by kind of cherry picking the right jobs for your group.
Yeah. I mean, I think in my mind, I think that on the way back, we either just beeline it, get paid, and put out feelers on the way to see if there are any missions that we can maybe like line up while we're making the delivery. Mm-hmm. Or we should do that regardless.
Absolutely.
But the alternative, as far as I can determine, is just to stop and investigate the Preceptor Archive, which is like...
Yes.
Was that in 201 or 300 or something like that?
So Priam is in 201, which is literally just one hex over from you guys.
So we're a basically negligible distance from that if we want to do it. It's all about how much time we want to spend there. And
months
ago we were discussing going there, and we were like, oh, we'll get it on the way back. We'll let's just go do this quick thing with the archaeology site, and then we'll be right back there. We'll be right there, like tomorrow, next session.
Yeah.
So.
No, I think I agree with that. I think going to 201 and then just beelining it, because God, if something happens and we don't get, like, this thing gets damaged somehow or some dumb shit, I'm going to be so mad. Like, I'm going to be so upset if we don't get full money for this thing.
I think we should at least superficially, if nothing else, investigate this place to see if it's worth coming back to while we're here. But the number one priority should be delivering this thing, because without it, we can't pay for the ship. We don't get paid. Ship's fucked.
100%.
We're fucked.
100%.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the Preceptor Archive in the Priam system is in the Tech Level 3, on the Tech Level 3 planet. While it has like limited spacefaring, they might have like they might have a few system ships. How I'm ruling it here, Tech Level 3 is like near future Earth, not exactly like, you know, what we are today, where like we can send a space shuttle up. Like they may have some system ships for defense, because it doesn't really make sense for a Tech Level 3 world to really exist in a place where somebody could just come by and give them stuff if they're open to that kind of thing. So yeah, that's kind of where this Priam sits. So you also know that Priam was a failed colony, actually, originally, and it failed in the first place because the humans that landed there became altered so that they could never leave, and so, as a colony is concerned, it's meant to more people to show up to eventually become an actual society, but after they got altered, nobody wanted to go there anymore. And that's kind of the definition of the failed portion of this colony. It's safe to go there if you wear like an exosuit in most locations, because they still trade and stuff and do that kind of stuff. Most of it is done off-planet because they have to wear exosuits when they leave. Or they'll die. Like, it's something specific about the planet makeup itself. But yeah, no, you could totally go, like, visit places there. For sure.
Well, hey, it just so happens that the crew has a full set of fancy-pantsy TL5.
Crew sure does have a full set of TL5 exosuits. Absolutely.
What are the odds?
What are the odds that those were just hanging out inside that facility?
Yeah, it's the craziest thing that we would find those immediately prior to needing them.
To be fair, I like to take credit when I do things like that. I didn't plan that at all.
I'm giving you.
I wish I could have planned something that good, but I don't. It just so happens you guys want to go to the planet that, you know, alters humanity when they breathe in the atmosphere.
That didn't seem like a mistake.
Is that humanity in the broadest sense? Or
So there's probably not a lot of testing from any of your kind, Oscar.
All right. Well,
your
he's
physiology
probably not
is
first to test it.
Right. Your physiology is markedly different, but who knows? Also, remember we've had conversations about during the silence about adaptation of Sriek on different planets.
Oh yeah.
So
not
like,
even different biomes on one planet.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and so like the other thing is it's totally possible that the scream is what caused this alteration effect to occur in the first place. So there could totally have been civilization here prior, but the scream happened, altered the makeup, like the actual, biological makeup of the planet in some way through some weird fucking psychic bullshit that the game allows me to do, and then that's what actually
So it could
that.
be. Are you saying that? Just to be clear, it could be the case that this was a one and done when the scream occurred, or is this an ongoing process when people go?
So there's not a whole lot of testing been done because the tech level of the planet is
so
only
it's
tech
ongoing.
level 3, right? And nobody's really interested in going to a place where they could literally just be stuck there forever.
So it's presumed to be ongoing, but no one's tested it.
Correct. Yeah, there's not. Remember, this is only like 60 years or so after the silence has ended. Like after humanity and other kind, humanoids have started repopulating the sector again. So this may have happened during the scream, and humanity is still there. And then maybe people first landed there and contracted it as well, but who knows? Like there's not a whole lot of information on it besides the fact that they know there's a preceptor archive, and they know that there's altered humanity on the planet itself.
To 201, please. Yes.
Yeah. Cool. Absolutely. So you guys get to the edge of the system after a non-essential amount of time. And Go-Go, do you remember how to do this?
God, I don't think so. This is like strange.
Wait.
I roll some dice, right, or something.
Was she supposed to level or?
Nope, she doesn't get a level.
Okay.
No, I don't level. Stop rubbing it in my face. I don't level.
Oh, is that because you were already level 4?
Yeah. No,
what am I rubbing in your face?
Both of the experts have been level 4 for at least one session.
It's fine.
I wanted to make sure there was the possibility to put more points in navigation checks.
I mean, I already have a 2, and I can't get a 3 unless some super duper awesome person teaches me how to do it.
Yep.
So.
Yep. And I think to get level 3, you have to be level 6. Is that true?
It's something along those lines. Yeah.
Level 5 or 6. Yeah.
So it's literally the best it can be.
I think it's 6 because it has to be half your level.
She's literally the best at navigation that she possibly could be at this point. So you're making a jump a single hex over, which does not add the +1 difficulty, and it's going to take you 3 days to get there. Do you want to trim the course to get there even faster?
No.
Okay.
Wait, to 201?
Yeah. You can trim the course any spike drive you take. Any drill you make, you can attempt to trim the course.
And I thought we could basically walk there.
I mean, you could try, but even Oscar's not that good at teleportation yet.
It looks so close.
Fantastic.
What was See, I don't remember any of this. Did we get a bonus from the ship anymore?
No. Your ship does not have the advanced nav computer any longer.
Okay. So.
That was the old ship you guys had. You got rid of that in order to make more money.
Okay.
And also because you didn't want the super strict handler.
Right.
Yeah, because you guys basically told Giorgio to fuck off. And then he consequently told you guys to fuck off.
I didn't tell him that.
So it is going to be a difficulty 7 check. And you roll your navigation with intelligence, please. Hey, no problem.
Did it.
Congratulations. So, being back in drive space for after so long is probably a little bit strange. It is the 7th of May now. But eventually, after 3 days, you guys pop into 201. You begin to receive a few more messages like of spam and stuff. But again, if you look at the way that the lines work here, this is pretty much just as removed as 0100 is. Because if nobody has a reason to travel to 0100 with the Claris and scientific stuff going on, no one really has a reason to travel to 0201 with the altered humanity planet that no one wants to be on anyway. So,
except us, apparently.
Right, except you, apparently, and other daring adventurers of your ilk. So you spend the hours allotted, the non-essential amount of time allotted, to arrive at the planets. We get the slash cut, right, of you guys flying into the planet. And so Boomer is probably the one that speaks up to the crew and is like, "Hey guys, we need to make sure, I tested the exosuits while we were in transit. They all appear to be functioning perfectly fine, but I would suggest that we carry a secondary breath mask. There's not a lot of research done on this, whatever it may be. If it's not absorbed through the skin or any kind of he looks at Oscar or exoskeleton, then if it's simply inhalation or what's the ingestion, then we might be safe with just breath masks, but I wouldn't risk it, so we should probably take both."
So in this scenario, what's the likelihood that I am fine with my usual, because I think we determined that Oscar's mask has a respirator, an attachment for it.
Yeah, that you could use. I mean, again, it's do you want to risk the fact that whatever affects these people doesn't affect you via any of your other holes in your body? You also have you also have a soft spot in your gut where you got hit once. That's probably not fully healed yet.
Yeah, valid.
I mean, I'm just saying. We determined the TL5 suits because they're TL5. They can just fit you, right? They can fit anyone because they're awesome in TL5, and I didn't want to fuck with oh my god, you didn't buy the extra large suit, you bought the large suit, because that would be a fucking dick move, and I'm not.
So wait, is that the noise of them going on underneath armor? Yeah, that sounds like shrink wrapping.
You wear them over the armor.
Oh. Okay.
Also, since they are TL5 and even the TL4 exosuits, they have self-repair abilities as well. So even if they're... that's actually a legit thing. Even if they're punctured, as long as it is not massive damage, they're not incinerated, they actually have self-repair. They have a membrane that will seal it up and self-repair itself. So even in the void of space, as long as your suit does not take massive damage, or you do not take massive damage, your suit will actually repair itself.
So they're hyper advanced bread bags to put over our sneakers.
Yeah, so right, yeah, they're have you ever seen the biohazard shoes that they put on just over your regular shoes, the big blue stretchy things with the mouth? Yeah,
I'm unfortunately intimately familiar
with the shoe bags. Yeah, no, that's basically what we're talking about.
I used to have to wear Kevlar gloves every day at work.
God, that's amazing.
Wow.
Underneath my 2 pairs of nitrile ones, and yeah.
Yep.
Moving right along.
Yeah, no, so they're and that's legit in the book. It has actual rules for it.
Cool.
Where they actually self-repair. So
I might have to keep these rather than selling them then.
So even, and that's I said, that's even on the vac suits, even on the even in TL4 are actually have that capability on them. Now the thing that they do have, however, is because they have the oxygen tank and stuff, which I'm not going to count the hours for you guys. I'm just going to assume you're smart enough to bring enough oxygen. But if you don't have Culture Spacer or Exosuit at 0, they give you a -2 penalty on all hit and skill checks that require movement.
Wait, and Spacer?
Yeah, Spacer applies for Exosuit, because a Culture Spacer also applies to, like, you know how to put a vac suit on and go on the outside of a ship in the void of space. That's a culture thing that you would know how to do as a Culture Spacer.
So, I have a question then. Did I not need to rank?
If you want assault armor, you do. That does not apply to Culture Spacer.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. That makes
a regular, everyday vac suit, you can use your Culture Spacer roll to...
Sweet.
Or your Culture Spacer skill to negate the penalty. So, does everyone have Culture Spacer or Exosuit at 0 or higher?
I do have Spacer at 0.
Okay.
I have both at 0.
Perfect. So you guys are fine. It would be hilarious if Boomer doesn't. He actually does not.
Can I wait? But you can assist others, right? So at the very least,
correct. Yeah, you could get if you assist Boomer with all of the skills he does and all of the attacks he makes while he's wearing a vac suit. Yeah, it's all 2 hit rolls. And all skill checks that require movement, which includes like fine motor controls, right? Like if you're trying to like work on a computer or that kind of shit. Yeah. So Boomer is probably like, this is probably why he's like, if the vac suit breaks and I'm just in an air mask, hopefully it works. But he's probably thinking in his head, he's probably like, oh yeah, so if the vac suit breaks, hopefully this shit doesn't get me, and then at least I won't be seen like being a dumbass in a fucking vac suit. Because he actually has a -1 in both of those skills, so he is not great at the vac suiting. Which is probably hilarious in the moment where so this Preceptor Archive, it is in like the largest settlement that exists on the planet, and they use it as their like I would say they worship it to a degree, like it's their not deity, but their like iconic thing on the planet. And who knows, maybe it has something to do with the altered humanity. But so that is like the most logical place to arrive at, but it's totally logical as well to like land outside of the settlement and make your way over there, as not to like leave your ship very accessible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Generally, the people on this planet, from what you know of this planet, are pretty amicable. They do trade with the outside world, but also they're kind of in poverty a lot. Like, there's not a whole lot of people that are doing well on this planet, mostly because they're seen as pariahs, right? Like, everyone on the planet is basically a pariah. If they leave their planet for any reason, and again, remind you, they're TL3 technology, so they can only basically stay within the system. If they do go trade, like, they're in vac suits, and people, even other humans, probably view them as aliens, right? Because they are essentially not the same anymore, and probably know that, but I want everybody to make me a Culture Spacer roll. Because I want to see if you guys know kind of the back end of why these people may be oppressed, besides being just altered in some way.
Is that based on wisdom?
Based on intelligence. Boomer knows. So does Go-Go. So does Fortune, really. Oscar doesn't. So Oscar, you probably like haven't even really ever heard of this place. Like, you probably don't really know a whole lot except for the fact that like you heard about a Preceptor Archive here. But the rest of you know that
he's only interested because Fortune seems to be going nuts over this place.
Right. So the rest of you know that these people, not a whole lot of people see them outside of their vac suits. And there's a reason why their vac suits don't show a whole lot when they do leave the planet. But you've heard stories and maybe seen like grainy pictures before of these people appear to be, well, they have probably a little bit of relation to a fungoid creature now. They're very clearly humans that have been altered, but
what?
They don't appear to be fully human any longer. And it's another reason why these people are seen as pariahs and seen as very like, you know, don't associate with them. You might catch that disease that they have, right? Like, whatever they have, like don't shake their hand, even if it's in the the vac suit. Who knows? Like, and that's kind of why they're oppressed as much as they are. But people who can look past that as just, you know, they're humans still. They still operate as humans. They still function as humans. Their biology to a degree is still human, but a lot of them have like what can only be defined as growths, where their physical makeup of parts of their body may be slightly different than an actual human. But Oscar, you're not aware of that. You're just aware that like humans came here and they caught some kind of disease or some crazy psychic shit happened, and now they can't leave because they have to survive in the atmosphere that is here on this planet, and vice versa. Like, they can't leave and be outside the atmosphere, and nothing can come here without being also tainted in some way. But Boomer would probably be the first to let you know, if none of the others do, that like, you know, just Oscar, when you see these people, I understand and understand. I'm not like, I'm not racist or anything, but they're not normal humans. They look a bit different than the rest of us do.
Boomer, you consider yourself to be a normal human.
He's maybe that was a poor choice of words, but and he's like, I think you'll understand what I mean when you see him. And like, that's probably like as you guys are pulling on vac suits, right? Like,
yeah.
You're like lacing up the boots. Or like
Boomer's like telling me this as I help him step into the suit.
Yeah, you're like zipping it up, even though it's got like one of those long strings, like a wetsuit to zip it up yourself. He's just like, he's trying to reach back there, but he looks like a fucking like what's the like the fucking blueberry girl from Willy Wonka, where he's like trying to reach behind his back, but he can't do it because his arms just aren't moving properly. And yeah, you're like assisting him into his vac suit.
Excellent.
Cool. So once that is completed, so what's like the plan? Are you guys going to go land? Because they do have a spaceport for their own like planetary or system ships, but also for like any traders that might come by.
Yeah, I mean, Oscar is treating this like he doesn't know what to expect, if anything, of the archive. So he is going to be pretty interested in the port and seeing what they have there.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm okay with landing in the port. That's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Hugo was already making it to the port, so
yeah,
and also, you guys agree. That's
also
good.
Remember too that like I mentioned, like your ship will be more unavailable at a different location. This is also a TL3 technology. Like, they may not even have the ability to interface with some of your systems because they're so advanced. So like that's another consideration. Like, if you guys had shown up at a fucking like an actual rinky-dink like shuttle that you like shot out of a fucking tube or something, yeah, you might be in a little more trouble there. But like, you have a legitimate spacefaring vessel that they probably don't know quite what to do with.
Well, and we do have two protectors when we leave the ship, so
yeah, totally.
Being Chan and Stanley, so
yeah, totally.
Mm-hmm.
If one just by appearance and the other by
the fat lard, and then the perceptive like cleaning robot, basically. Yeah, totally. I get it. But you also have Kami. Like, you could just turn Kami on as you walk out of the ship. And
oh yeah, that sounds like a brilliant idea.
Like, hey Kami, do me a favor. Don't let anybody but us back on this ship. You'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be great.
Yeah, and Kami goes, but I'm not at home. Where am I?
Right. Yeah.
And then just takes our ship back home.
Flies the ship away. Yeah. And then Kami and Chan and Stanley become the new faction.
Hey, Kami finds other Kami, and now it's just war.
Yep.
Yeah.
Correct.
Good game. See you guys later.
Rude, but also true. Go. So, the first thing you guys probably notice as you enter the atmosphere of the planet is that it appears to us, obviously you as characters don't know what Earth looks like, but it appears very Earth-like. It has multiple different continents. It has a vast array of like water masses that surround these land masses, with varying different types of biomes. You can see like what appears to be like a large desert area in one of them, and a large forested area, and then a large like kind of cleared out area. And you can see too, like from the dark side of the planet, because you guys are coming in on the daytime, because why not? From like the dark side of the planet, you can see like lights, right? Like we see Earth lit up at night, or at least on the dark side of Earth. Like that's kind of what you see, but it's all kind of focused, like centralized on this one big location that you guys are headed towards, and it's visible. Like the actual like structures are visible, but I think that even visible from the like very low orbit, very high altitude flight that you guys are coming in at, you can see this spire that kind of exists in the center of this settlement, which is large. It's massive. You can see a fair bit around it, even from the low orbit / high altitude that you're at. You can see that the settlement kind of extends fair away, because this planet does it doesn't list it here, but it does have tens of thousands of inhabitants on it, which is the lowest end of like a quote unquote inhabited planet, but that's what it has. And as you guys like fly in and you land, you see that the spire is very large, as you assumed, and it's kind of this large silvery structure with these like 3 different spikes that come up and like meet at the very top, and then inside it has like this almost like glittering glass that kind of sparkles in the light a little bit. It's almost like the inside of a marble, like a clear marble, where you can see like the imperfections and the air bubbles and the and like the flecks of paint or whatever. That's kind of the image that you get from the inside of this 3 spiked tower as it comes down, and then spreads out quite wide, maybe about half a kilometer in diameter. So it's fairly large. It's about the size of maybe like a city block or so, or a couple city blocks, I should say. And as you guys land in the spaceport, you're greeted as you enter like the atmosphere, obviously, by like the control tower, and you identify your ship and identify who you're working for, etc., etc. And everybody is great with that, and they're like, okay, cool. They're asking you what you're bringing. You said, we're actually stopping by to like. I guess I should ask, like, what is the reasoning you give them for your visit? Because like you're not here on a job per se. If you told them you were tourists, that would probably be suspicious, because tourists don't come here. So what's the like? What's the story?
I don't know. I feel like Oscar could convince them that he was a tourist, but the rest of them are out of luck.
Right.
Someone with non-zero charisma would.
We're looking for possible work. If they need anything transported off planet.
Yeah, I mean, like, basically whatever you as players want to come up with, or what you think Boomer would come up with. Don't play your character in this moment, because this is a Boomer thing, so I assume you would, like, pass along the information, or he would come up with it, but...
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty easy to say, like, we're passing through, we want to see the port, we're interested in trade and perhaps courier work. Leave it at that.
Sure, yeah. And they don't have a reasonably like efficient way to get stuff out of system, because they don't have ships that travel out of system. Yeah. So yeah, no, I think that like they're like, oh, okay, that's awesome. Here's your docking code. They probably give you a list of like suggestions, like you should visit this place if you want to get this. You should visit this place if you want to get this. And they give you like some establishments for accommodations for so they use like a turn of phrase that probably catches you all off guard. They say no likes. They call everything for no likes. And it takes a moment to like recognize why they're saying that, but they're calling you guys no likes for whatever reason.
As in we are dissimilar, or
yeah, perhaps,
or because we don't like them.
Right. It's weird. It's like it's translated funny. Like maybe it means something else in their form of dialect, right? Because they're segregated from the rest of the sector, pretty much. But they call the group of you no likes.
Interesting.
That'll be something to watch for.
Yeah. So you guys land, and you strap up all the suits. You get the warning from Boomer, Oscar, and you disembark, and immediately you can see that at the you got that you're breathing through your vac suits, but you have communications and stuff, and you can talk readily available outside of the suit as well, and you're greeted by an individual who would be described as being in their maybe mid-20s for a human, and it's a man. He's got short like brown hair, and he appears very human in the face and the torso and the arms and the legs, but you can see like the backside of his head appears to be like there's something like draping down. And when you get a better look, you can see there appears to be like a couple of like large mushrooms that have grown like follicles of hair that are like large enough that they come down like just probably to like the base of his neck. And they appear to be like just part of his anatomy. And he greets you when you disembark, and he says, "Greetings. My name is Shizan, and I will be escorting and making sure that you are taken care of while you were in the port today. Is there anything I can get for you or do for you today?" And he's notably not wearing a vac suit, obviously.
Hi, Shizan. We're here to maybe pick up some work. You know anybody who needs anything to get off world?
Yes, I can have a list of available contacts printed out for you within a few moments. Do you need directions to perhaps any accommodations, or will you be staying on your ship? I'm sorry, are you remaining here for more than perhaps a few hours? He seems like he's socially inept, obviously, but not so much so that it's impossible to talk with him.
Yeah. I feel like this is a conversation we should have had. I think we're only going to stay for the day.
Yeah, if it's a conversation you guys would have had, like what would you guys have said in that briefing?
I think we would have established less like a number of days, but just shorter term, like as long as it takes to quickly do our business and then get on.
Sure.
I think would be more than enough.
And Gogo would vote staying on the ship. Just FYI.
Gogo's just gonna sit at the wheel.
No, I think she means like overnight.
No. Oh, like if we for some reason are staying overnight, just staying at hotels for us never ends well.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Hotels are bad. We've learned this.
Also, sleeping in vac suits is probably
mushroom
not great.
Vampires.
Right.
Yeah, if we can avoid that, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, if you could give me my multi-barreled laser weapon on my ship in my hotel room, then maybe. But otherwise,
possibly. Otherwise,
I'd rather stay on the ship.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we all agree we're staying on the ship.
Yeah, cool. And like, there's probably a moment of like, oh, yeah, of course. Right this way. I'll radio to the to the tower to have some possible jobs picked out. I'm sure that someone will need something transported or something. Follow me. And he turns and begins to like trot off at a brisk pace. And now you can see it like in full, like the mushrooms on the back of his head. They're like bouncing with every step that he takes. And it's really like it's almost like they have like a life of their own, right? Like they're bouncing like on the offbeat occasionally, and like out of sync with each other even. Yeah, no, it's gross. And so, like, it's weird to see that, because, like, if you had seen that anywhere else ever and didn't prior know about this, you would assume that this individual is got some horrible, like, life-threatening disease and, like, possibly be contagious and need to be incinerated. Like, this entire person needs to be incinerated if there was something you were not priorly aware of. And so now, like, it begins to maybe dawn on you why this is such a, like, we don't really want to, like, be here. And
let's not dilly-dally.
Yeah, let's not dilly-dally. Let's hurry up. So I think that you get to, like, the check-in booth, and you can see that inside is, like, literally a laser printer, right? And there's another individual working there, and you can see that his upper lip has, like, these little tiny, like, vines instead of, like, an actual lip, and they just kind of hang over, and they kind of wiggle a little bit when he talks. It looks like a mustache almost, but they're like little vine, and one of his ears is actually like there's nothing there, and the whole, like, side of that head is like this, like, deep rich blue color, and you can see, like, you would call them veins, but they're very clearly, like, not actual human veins that run kind of through it. There's far too many of them, and they're far too visible for them to be actual, like, blood transportation things. Maybe it's, like, the cell structure of whatever plant type thing is the side of his head. And he grabs the printed paper off, and he, like, folds it up and slides it through the little window, and Shizan grabs it, and he looks it up. He says, it appears we do have some work here, some from some local agencies and some from some of our friendly off-world companies. And he hands you the paper, and he hands it to you, Fortune, probably because you're, like, the business guy, right? He hands it to you, and you look over the list, and there's a couple of names that you don't recognize, and then there's 2 names of things that you do recognize. You recognize that there is there's an entity from the Tote Alliance here, and there is also an entity from the Rahani Band here. And for those that don't remember, the Tote Alliance is the sector security funded by governmental sponsors, and the Rahani Band is the people who made Chen's collar.
Yeah, I think we're not doing business with them.
And I think that that's a great place to take our 10-minute break.
Yeah!
One of us is not, so by extension, we are not.
We're all
doing business.
Yeah.
Oh, but I see some opportunity for sabotage here, so Gogo might be on board with that.
That was my fear.
Yeah, cool. So we'll take a quick break. Mushroom people, look at that. It's fantastic. So,
cool.
I'm going to mute you guys, and we'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, stream. We're going to take a quick little break. Hope to see you all in about 10 minutes. I'm going to turn on some music, and we're going to get to it. See you in a little bit.